Okay, Noel, no problem. Right, must be nearly time. Good evening all. Hope you're all well. So far with six plus me on the net and a few lurkers. Sorry you can't transmit, James, but good to know you're watching. So far I have G7JTT, who will go first, G7 NTG, then G4HIZ, then Bernie G4HJW, then Mike G0MJW, and Michelle HB9DUG. And I'll put Duncan G7VVF on the end of the list there. I'll type out this list in a minute once John starts transmitting. The only notice I have is please make sure you get your entries in for the both the Christmas activity contest and for the repeater contest. Both logs are still open. I've made a test entry earlier this evening, and both logs are open online, so please put those entries in because it does provide us with proof that the bands are being used, so it's really useful. Apart from that, what's been going on, we've been playing with DVB-T, and I think we'll talk a bit more about that later. So round to John G7JTT first, and it will be Jim G7NTG after that. From GKQ and the BATC Net.
Right, hopefully the sounds like it. Right, okay. Good evening all. Yeah, I actually got an early finish today, so it's picking up, but today was very, very quiet for some reason. Anyway, that aside, obviously no radio stuff to report, except I did dig out. I bought a couple of mirrors some time ago at Flight Refueling, and I thought they were from telescopes, but I'm not convinced they are because they seem too deep. So anyway, that's about 7-inch mirrors, but this one, unfortunately, I don't know if you can really see. Yeah, you can. Some of the gut cleaning it, and some of the silvering's come off, and the rest of the silvering that's there is somewhat tarnished. So I'll have to find out a way of re-silvering it or something. But they're 7 inches in diameter. If you put an LED, which I haven't got to hand, but if you just put an ordinary LED in there and put it in, it can really focus it quite well. I mean, it's got quite a short focal length on it, but yeah, it might be just something different to play with as well. Maybe even might be good for you guys on 122, etc. So I'm a long way away, but that would really do some DX spot, wouldn't it? But anyway, that's something to think about. So really, other than that, other than wish you all a very safe and I don't know what else to say really, but just
idea what's going on here. I've picked up an adjacent channel. So I'll have to... it's done the usual thing and locked up on the next channel. So let's have a look. Yeah, it's picked me up now. It did the usual thing and locked up on an adjacent channel, and because it was stronger than John, and John's signal was bouncing up and down all over the place, and of course it locked on the other. I've got no means of telling whether I was on, so there you go. We got most of it, John, thank you, and glad to hear your work's come down a bit. Yes, I got your email, Dave, about the advertising. Guilty as charged. All the slight hints I put in. But yeah, I've got to let... I have tried to let people know what I can do for them to get them on the air. And it's a bit borderline, as I think you've probably had me in mind. So yeah, I would just change the wording slightly, I think. Right, well, I've been doing a bit of playing apart from the usual thing. I bought myself one of these little nano VNAs, which are very nice, and I've been doing some testing with it and comparing it to this, which is my old trusty Anritsu, the Site Master, and they're not far out. They agree within, I won't say an order of magnitude, but let's say they agree within 2 or 3 dB, which is not bad. So takes a little bit of manoeuvring around all the menus on it, although it is touch screen, and it works quite nicely. I noticed Arthur had one he showed last week, which is why I got one, and I found a site in the UK which was selling them quite cheap, and quite impressed by it. It's got end connectors on it. It's remarkably heavy. It's a good solid chunk of kit, that is, and well worth having a look at. But other than that, gradually building things, and I've sent a Portsdown 4 off to Zakynthos in Greece, to Sugar Victor 8 Romeo Victor. So hopefully he'll get that in about a month, looking at the current rate of getting through customs with things. It seems to have slowed up a bit now. Yeah, like it is no, not 10 dB, within 2 dB. I'd say it's within 2 or 3 dB, so it's quite, for the price, it's remarkably good. Comparing that at 70 odd quid to that at hello, have I frozen up? To that at several £100 second hand. So I know you get what you pay for, and that's it, but there you go. Oh, and Yasu Dionysius Tikanite, he's just come on and said hello. So yes, I understand about the tightening of the end types. Nip up gently with the fingers. Not I'm sure they can break away from the PCB quite easily if they're not very well fitted, because they've got nuts on them, but there's nothing much to stop them. I haven't looked inside it. Right, anyway, I will pass it on now to G4HIZ and from G7NTG.
Thanks, Jim. Good evening, everyone. G4HIZ on the BATC QO100 net. Very good evening to everyone, and hope you're all keeping well. Okay, well, it's lockdown season, isn't it? That can only mean one thing: building. And I managed to put together my Pi 4 eventually, and there it is in a nice Smarty Pi case. I bought the extra wide back because I'm going to put some clever bits in the back there. Well, power supply, nice juicy fan, and some other bits and bobs in due course. And interestingly, back in 2018, in the spring edition of Sprat, the magazine for the GQRP Club, there was a very interesting article about a valve tester. So I thought, well, I think I might have a go at building that. So I did all the power supplies and so on. And then blow me, somebody announced that this SL2 satellite was going to be launched imminently in November. So everything turned towards preparing for the satellite and getting ready for it. And the poor old valve tester was put on the back shelf. Well, it's been resurrected. So I'm now actually putting the bits together again. And if I can find it, here we are. So there we are. I'm afraid valves, lovely. A couple of nice old meters from the 1960s as well. Anyway, so we're very busy at the moment, and I've also discovered, tripping over things in my workshop, that there's a nice dish that I'd like to use for 10 gigahertz. So I think I might knock together another 10 gigahertz system after this. Okay, right, I think it's Bernie next, G4HJW, so I'll pass it round and look forward to seeing you a bit later on.
Bit of a slow start for me. Evening, everybody. I struggled a bit with you, Jen. I don't know why. The signal was strong enough, so I missed pretty much all of it. I'll just drop my power down a little bit. I'll leave it at that anyway. I think that's enough. G4HJW. Near Cambridge, but I think everybody knows that. Just go on to onto the camera. I've not been doing any TV this week, I'm afraid. I've been carrying on with the 4-meter transverter, and which I have finished at low power. So I was just doing this, just starting the PA today, and I was looking through the transistors. I just assumed that would be a FET. But I did this terrible thing over the years. I've got about at least half a dozen TP9380s, which will give 100 watts, and they just never got used. And they're 40 years old, but I thought, well, I'd better use them, which is what I'm going to do. So I got a board etched just before I came on tonight, and that'll be tomorrow's job. And it'll be nice to be able to transmit on 4 meters other than on something other than FM and AM. I'm sorry, James, that you've got the acid reflux. I have a very minor version of that, and I only struggle in the morning when I first get up, and I end up coughing for that first hour as bad as my father did, and he was a 40 fags a day type. So, and I'm not. so it's a bit unfair. Oh, something that did arrive today is yesterday, a mini VNA that was under £40. I wasn't expecting a great deal, and the package, the plastic case it's in, and the printing on the case looked a bit naff, but it actually works very well, and it must have a genuine TCXO in it, unlike most products that seem to say they have, but just have an ordinary, horrible, not very stable oscillator. And that just goes up to 900 megs. For under £40, a little handheld thing, as long as your eyesight's good enough, that's going to be very useful, so quite pleased with that. I noticed that postage after Christmas has been very, very slow, but I know, John, you were saying about how rushed off your feet you were before Christmas. Stuff was turning up pretty much on time before then, but it hasn't done for me since. Could just be that nobody was posting to me, but there was stuff that was supposed to arrive. Seems to have taken a lot longer. Right, that'll do for me. Who does it go on to? On to you, Mike.
That's better. Not sure what happened there. Is it going to work? Oh, hang on. Sorry about that. I'm 100 kilohertz low. Let me just fix that. Right, is it working now? One hopes so, yeah, okay. Sorry about that. That was because I was doing 35 kilohertz symbols and having a QSO with two separate people. And we were spacing ourselves by 100 kilohertz, so we had full duplex QSO. Right, turn myself down so I'm not hearing myself in the ears. Right, okay, let's put on a picture. So, first of all, Happy New Year to everybody. I think this is probably... So, hope everyone is going to be okay and enjoying the new year. Please do tell me in the chat if there are any issues, because I'm looking at it now. I'm going to attempt a demo, and that's never a good thing to try. So, we'll see. The other thing is there might be quite a significant delay, which may make things odd. Right. So Jim, this is my version of that. Oh, it's not got anything on it yet. But, it's also upside down. Let's put it the right way up. SMAs on it, so I think that's the unit inside yours, but you've got a bigger screen. Those weren't available when I got this one, but wonderful devices, very good. I've also got the one that Bernie's got, the earlier version that only goes up to 900 megahertz, which is fine for use up to 900 megahertz gigs. They're a bit more expensive, but it's the Mark II version. So great, right. Anyway, on with it. Get on with it. this is a Portsdown 4, and there's some wonderful new software that has been written by Dave in the past few weeks, with Charles's input, of course, and all the other people who've been doing things for DVB-T. And we have a Nooker, which I showed you last time, I think, or the time before, working. So let me just move the camera. That's the keyboard. DATV Express, Nooker board, DATV Express software, which will now be switched to the on position, and this is where everything may go bad. Then we've got the receiver, terrestrial, 500 kHz bandwidth, 146.5 MHz, play with VLC, and then we have to wait. And whilst you're looking at the reflection of the camera, something might happen. This is just across the bench on 2 meters. There we go. And it might even give us a picture. Actually, it might not give us a picture because it probably can't grab the camera. But believe me, it works. So maybe next time I'll get it to use the camera exclusively and give you an image of that. But there's definitely was working earlier on today, so I'm not sure why it didn't show a picture there. But it might be that it's not actually going out. Let's give it another go just to make sure. Anyway, so that means T, and we can receive DVB-T on the Portsdown. And the advantages of doing DVB-T, oh, there it is, it's working now, and it'll be playing itself, so it's going to look mad. But that's basically what's going on there. Just hide the overlay there. Oops, oh, pressed it too many times. Let's go back to me again. So that's the advantage of all of that is that we can use lower bandwidths on 6 meters and 4 meters, and when the signals are spread because of their propagation, they'll still work with DVB-T, whereas they wouldn't work with DVB-S. So so that's really the point of this, and here it is again. Madden shows itself again. It's very low latency on Charles's software, so it's you only get a few seconds of time to actually look at it before it starts showing pictures of itself again. But that's working really well, so that's really good. And
everybody. Well, I need to wish you also cut my return. Okay, so I wish you also a nice 2021 year, good health, and here with my friend Pierre-André, Hotel Bravo 9 Alpha Zulu November. We are working on the retrofit of one of the HB9 TV ATV relay.
So it's been working on the rack for the new relay. Basically, we want to simplify it. The one we have right now is use DTMF, and we go through MPEG encoder for the receiving tuners. So we've decided to remove all these things to make it much simpler. And we're already using equipment from SR Systems. Fortunately, the equipments we have and spare parts we have is DVB-S. So we use DVB-S, and the big change is that we are using directly a tuner, a DVB-S tuner, which is on the mux of the SR systems. So we are fully transparent like this for the contents of the stream. So now we can stream whatever we want, H.264, H.265, and other things if people are interested. So we have also on that one now include a remote control. Is the block you see, the first block, second block on the left. So we have a mini controller, a Linux controller, which allows us to check all the power, the amps. Also, we look at the tuner, if it is locked or not, measure temperature, and we can, of course, switch on, switch off the relay. So Pierre-André has done all the mechanical part, is also doing right now the control module, and myself I'm working on the amplifier module. Up to now we were using traveling wave tube on the relay that we had at a very low cost, but now we have replaced that by I forget to say that the output of the relay is on the 10 gig. So now we are using transistor power amplifier. So I will try to show you that. I find out another very interesting software which called SRT, Secure Reliable Transport, which is something which would like to be used by a lot of professional guys to do streaming through internet in a secure way and better way than UDP. Basically, it looks like it's introduced some fake control on the protocol. So I have that on my mobile phone, streaming with this protocol and receiving it on OBS or vMix, which support that new protocol. So I'm trying to show you that. Oh yeah, it works. Fantastic. Oh yeah, it works. So you should see an image coming. Yeah, okay, from my mobile phone. Yeah, okay, from my mobile phone. So that's the new power module. So that's the new with forward amplifier 10 gig. Forward amplifier and on the side here. And on that side, on the side where here, my finger is coming. On that side where my finger is coming. Delay. So okay. It's big delay. On that side is the place for the transverter. From 400 mega to 10 gig. Of course, right now is on the working relay, so we'll have to stop the relay. Working relay, so take the parts to load this new module. To load this new module. Today I've been playing with something very nice also, which is running on the P4. It's called PSDR. It's image which contains absolutely all the SDR hardware. Line, Etus board, all the AirSpy, RTL key, everything is bundled and works from the first time with my B200 from Etus. And running GNU Radio, so I was very impressed because GNU Radio is working quite well on it. So the P4 is quite an interesting project. Okay, so that's for this first. Second one, I will show you a small video on the relationship between the UK and Switzerland. So next to me, let me find out the list. List is gone. So it's G7.
Aha, it works. Right, turn the sound down so I can't hear myself coming back. Well, I can find a mute. Good evening, everybody. So a new face for a new year. How do you like that? Some of you know me, some of you don't. I'll introduce myself. Duncan, G7VVF. Heavily involved in the North London ATV repeater GB3EN, and although I've been watching this satellite since it went up, this is the first time I've actually managed to get into it, with a bit of help from one of Jim's amplifiers that we don't mention on here, but there you go. Let me see, I have a ports down, with a line in it, and over there a half-built Ryde. It's coming on. I've only started putting it together today really, so that's why it's like it is. Right, let me show you some pictures of, oh there we go, it's GB3N, thank you, right. Ooh, make myself smaller, and off the edge of the screen, there we go. So my, you might be interested in this. This is one of these bullseye LMBs, and I built a 3D printed collar for it to hold the potty, and there's also another 3D printed collar there with a cutout for the N connector. There's the collar that goes inside the LMB, all mounted on there, and that's stuck in the LMB with sealant, the old you know, kitchen tile sealant and stuff like that, yeah. And there it is mounted on the dish, and the bracket that holds it all on the dish has another hole in it for the N connector. There we go, if you can see that. Oh, that's a bit of a squashed picture, isn't it? Oh well. Anyway, it all seems to work. which is good. I think I lose about a dB of or MER by having the potty stuck in the LMB as opposed to the LMB on its own. I have a 1.2 metre dish, and I can get, with nothing else on the band, I can get the beacon at about 9. Not too bad, I thought. Here's the PA, one of Jim's, which had an interesting quirk, but it's working well now. And there is a little amplifier, the AMSAT one, about 200 milliwatts with filtered input as well. And that's all fed down a lovely long bit of 75 ohm satellite coax from my loft, because that's down in the shed halfway down the garden, which is where the dish is. And there's about 15 dB loss going down that cable I measured it at. So the line is running at about line gain of 98, but it's given quite a bit of power by the look of it. So not a reason, a reasonable signal for 333 anyhow. So it's not too bad. So yeah, I've still got a load more stuff to reassemble, obviously, and carry on building, and hopefully I can do a bit more of this as well, really. We also equipped, last year I equipped GB3EN with a digital receiver. One of those ones that, it was me that bought 3 different ones, wasn't it? So all the same from the outside, different on the inside. One of those is up at GB3EN, and I can get into that with just about 40 milliwatts from here, and that works quite well, really. That's set at 1,000 kilocycles. Anything else? No, I think it's not. I did build one of the early Portsdowns. You can tell it's an early one because it has the non-BATC breakout board. So there we go. So I've got to finish my Ryde and put another little amplifier up here, really, I think, to get a bit more power down to the dish. That's my plan next. But other than that, that's it. Now, I think that's probably me all done. So who was it coming up next? Hang on, let me have a look. DTS, M0 DTS. So I'll
Right, evening everyone. So, Happy New Year to everybody and things, if we haven't caught up since. Yeah, well, obviously not. It's right, there we are. Hopefully that's working okay. Yeah, looks like we're okay. Yeah, even everyone. Thanks, Duncan. Nice to see you on the net. Seen you many times via EN and probably other places actually as well. But certainly recognise the call sign anyway. So yeah, nice to see you on QR100. So what have I been up to? I did a little bit more playing with my 13 Thames amplifier. After some suggestions, I've removed some isolators and various things and upped the voltage, but unfortunately I still can't really get any more than about 130 watts. It seems to be where it tops out at, so I've left it V for now. It certainly does enough, but 40 watts is going to be more than adequate for my portable and way over the top for the home station, so it'll certainly do the job. So I've left it like that for now. I've ordered myself a big lump of heatsink. I need to dig out a cabinet to put it in. I'm going to put it in the 2U rack unit so I can fit it in the van or elsewhere. 131. Yeah, that would be fine, Mike. Yeah, we can do about 10 megasymbols or something. Try that. Yeah. What else? Let's think. Oh, I bought a few bits. I bought a 2 meter 300 watt PA about 2 years ago, and I've never ever built it. It's been sat on the shelf up there, so now I've got KM stuff out of the way. I'm trying to get a few other projects done and things, because at the moment my power at the antenna on 2 meters is about 15 watts, and that's about it, because I've got a long cable run out to the antenna mast, so it's about 60 meters run to the top of the mast of 2 meters, so it's a good 6 dB loss in there, so we run about 80 watts out of the rig, and then, you know, it drops right down. Other things, certainly no problem with post here, Bernie. I've had 4 days off, and yeah, well, that's only 3 of them. There's about 6 items coming the post, so certainly no problem with post arriving here. It's been really fast. I'm sure there was something else I was going to mention. What did I note down? Oh, Michelle, with these, I really do like the Eurocard, like 2U rack cabinets that all the European repeater guys seem to use. I don't know, it just sort of hasn't caught on as much over here, that, but just nice and modular, really, really nice. Oh, Tim, regarding Ryde, yeah, I got your email, Tim, so we'll have a look at that over the next few days. I've been at work the last 4, so you've timed it perfectly, so I'll start and have a look at that tomorrow with Quick Tune and things. I haven't put any new Quick Tune release out yet. It is coming. It hasn't crashed recently on the auto scan, but I haven't updated the auto scan to work with multiple tuners yet. It only works on one, so I need to do that this week. Yeah, I think that's it for now anyway. There's still another couple on the list, isn't there? Where are we at? So I'll talk about a little bit more next time around, because it's already 1:45, so I've just forgotten who's next. Someone is next on the end of the list, but I forgot who. G4FKK. Yeah, do that, Colin. Yeah, G4FKK. Round to you. M0DTS. And I'll put a quick picture of something I'll talk about next time. Where are we at? There we go.
Oh, very good. I don't know what that was, Rob, but it looked very interesting. Let's do that. Yes. Good evening, everybody. And I'm running quite a lot of poke now. I turned it up a bit earlier because I thought that adjacent channel might stay there. Let's turn that down a smidge. Oh, that'll probably do. Anyway, yes, and all very interesting. So I'm late on parade again, Dave. It's just we always have late dinner here, so dinner doesn't usually finish till just gone 8, and I'm not allowed to run out too quickly, so I'm always a bit late on parade. Jen, very interested in your valve tester. I've got an old Avo 3 valve characteristic meter under the bench here, which still works very well. So if you need any calibration checks, let me know. I'll send you a calibrated valve. whether the Avo 3 is still in calibration, who knows. Mike, your demonstration went very well, I thought, especially when you said you were running two streams via FFmpeg, which I still can't quite control. I'm getting closer. I can't even say it, as you could tell. Yes, I'm getting together, as I mentioned last week. I was trying to get together bits for a new mini tuner, but I've diverted that. I have got the USB thing. I don't know if the USB FTDI thing is still programmed the same way for the Knucker as the mini tuner. I hope so, otherwise that's another 28 quid, isn't it? I did unfortunately get the old version of the NIM, or the DVBS version, but that's okay. And almost luckily there were no mini tuner boards left when I was placing those orders. But I gather the version 3, well, the Knucker is largely the same components, so I should be right for that when I need that. And Tim, yeah, Knucker and Ryde would be good. Very impressed with your setup there, Michelle, and the Pi SDR as well. Very interested in that. Duncan, nice to meet you. I'm very new on the satellite, really. Been on a few times now, but I used to watch EN years ago when it was all analog. So, in fact, I found the bits I'd made for that. I don't know if it still is analog, but I've not got an appropriate aerial up at the moment. And yeah, looking forward to the quick tune release for the Ryde, Rob. The buttons are getting worn out on my my remote control. This is a weird remote control, by the way. It's a very old Creative Labs one from a sound card, and but it works actually really well. All the buttons, I've got used to them being in that position, so I'll send you the config for that soon, Dave. Right. The only other thing to tell you, Jim, I got that amplifier going. If I go over to camera 4, you can see a terrible picture of it. I started off by just changing the connectors. I didn't take any of the circulators out, and it worked quite well. It was already better than the one with the D-type transistors in, and by taking out the small isolator and the slightly larger one, I got about 6 dB more gain out of it. I found a good way of taking the slightly larger isolator out, or circulator. I don't know if you can see that. I don't think this will focus on that, but anyway, out of interest, I thought I'd give it a quick lever with a big screwdriver, and I don't know if you can see that, but the pads where the input and output are, they snap off luckily off the circulator and not off the printed circuit board. So that was just pure luck that I found that out. You still have to unsolder the metal corners, but there you go. Right, it's enough from me. It's round to Noel next, unless anything's changed when I wasn't looking. Oh yes, it pulls the pads off. Yeah, but I can't use the circulator again. But there you go. Right, I think it's Noel next. So round to you, Noel, and thanks for your email, which I will be replying to this evening.
Well, evening all. It does actually appear to be working. That's remarkable. I think, last time I was on the net I had a bit of trouble, didn't I? So it's good. Okay, so what's been happening here? Well, most of it has been covered. Great to see Duncan on, by the way. Really good to see you, and interesting what you're up to. Similar setup to the one here. I've got about 30 metres of coax, so similar problems, but that's good. A couple of comments on the post. Yes, it does seem to be getting better, although my sister emailed me today to say they had just received my Christmas card from us today. That was posted a week before Christmas, so who knows. Right, a quick look at the rest of the shack. I'll show you something I've been up to. That's one of these QRO flat light LEDs running, and on an optical beacon. I'm gonna have to turn it off because it's doing my eyes in. So yes, that's one thing we've been up to. The other thing, of course, is been doing much testing with this new OFDM stuff. There is a wiki page up about it now, which I put a link on, and we currently only have a very limited number of tuners, and so we're limiting what we can do with them. We have today literally placed an order on Seret for a couple of hundred more, so when they arrive, which will be the end of February, hopefully it will become a project for everyone, and obviously we'll get great coverage in CQTV in March. I think Mike's already shown this, but yes, there's the port sound screen with the DVT receiver. The one thing I will show though is what all the fuss is about, and why OFDM is interesting. And it's because it is, as Mike said, it's very resistant to multipath and fading. Now for us that makes it very interesting for 50 megs and even below, and sporadic E. But the other application is mobile, and it's really interesting because about 20 years ago I was involved in this professionally, and we did a load of videos of OFDM compared to what was then the standard, which was analog FM, and I got some shots that were taken around Melbourne in Australia, which has got a split screen of FM versus OFDM, and I just thought I'd show you this just to show what we're all getting very excited about. So if I do that, I can still talk. So on the left hand side of the screen, I mean, it doesn't look good at 333 kilosymbols, but the left hand side of the screen is the OFDM signal with the spectrum above it, and on the right hand side is the analog FM, and as you saw, we just went underneath a railway bridge, and the FM is just useless mobile because of the phase changes and fading, and that's exactly why it's not going to be any good. Now this is the Grand Prix track at Melbourne, which we drove around, because this was done about 20 years ago, and at that time all the cars were running FM, but this just showed what could be done if you used this. I think this went back to a base station about 4 miles away, and you can see the difference there. So that's why we're getting very excited about OFDM, because of what it can do for us on 50 megs, but and also mobile. I think it's going to be very interesting to put a receiver up at a repeater and try it mobile on 77s. I think that could be really interesting. Yes, yeah, I note your comment there, Rob. I don't know if there's anybody you want I think it was Clive who appeared on the September 50 or 70 meg contest, wasn't it? We could potentially give him a tuner if you want to do some experimenting. So there we are. I think that's it from me. I'm glad it worked. Actually managed to put a picture in. And back to the Ringmaster. So G8GKQ to take it, G8GTZ and a bit.
Good, managed to mute it. Thanks, Noel. Good pictures there and very interesting video. Okay, well, what have I been up to? Lots of DVB-T, programming the ports down to do that receive demo that you saw Mike do. Thanks for that, Mike. That worked well. Also done a bit of infrastructure work in the shack. Had to put in another network switch because I'd run out of network ports. They're over there, up at the back there, flashing away. One interesting thing I did have a look at this week, there's a new browser out called Flow, which is essentially an embedded browser. And I just wondered whether it would run on a port stand. It won't, but I'll keep trying. Been some mention of advertising. Feel free to advertise things on the BATC forum. That's what the for sales and wants pages are for. That's the place to put it, not on the air. Nano VNA, yes, I've got one. Valve tester, I haven't. I don't think I'm going to get one. It's a long time since I used a QQVO 320 or 640 or something like that. Although I do have a Valve 77PA still down in the garage gathering rust. Yeah, Mike, your picture was excellent and audio was excellent. It just had the odd sort of half-second break in it, about once every 10 seconds or so. And John, you've got your bouncing carrier problem back again. I don't know how you cured that last time. Was that a new feeder cable, possibly? Michelle, that rack for the repeater looks nice, but when you were showing us the pictures from your phone, you had two audio channels running about half a second apart, which was challenging. I understood it all, but slightly challenging. Martin, the NUCA uses the same USB module but needs reprogramming. Anybody with a PC can do the reprogramming. So you haven't wasted your money, it's just a little bit of extra work. In the shack here, I've got a Portsdown there, which is Portsdown 4, which is running the latest version of Buster. Just looking at whether there are any snags with that. And this thing over here, this is my original Portsdown 4. It's got a frozen picture from some DVB testing I was doing earlier. 70 megs direct out of a DATV Express direct into the tuner. This thing here is an ADF 4351 and a mixer in a box. I'm going to set that up to mix down to 50 megs and test the tuner at 50 megs. So that's what's going on here. 9 o'clock already and we've only been round once, so we'll run it once round again. Back to John, and thanks everybody for coming on. I hope to be here by the time we get round to the end again. G7JTT and the net, G8GKQ.
Right, hopefully that should cure that. Let me just make sure I'm getting myself. I'm sure there's some audio coming through. Right, there we go. Right, okay. And lip sync's completely off, so bear with me. Oh. trying to remember how to drive this half the time. I don't get to use it as often as I used to. Right, 1 2 1 2 1 2. Oh, I do. Right. Whilst I do have the thing working, and I'm watching the monitor at the moment, make sure it doesn't go up and down. I sent Noel a text, but I might as well say it on here as well. The D4 VHF team on Cape Verde have announced that they will be active on 70 megs 4 meters during the summer of 2021. It's a blooming long way down there, but oh, sorry. Right, I'll keep that quiet. Anyway, but I've just been told off, so I'll keep that quiet. Other than that, the only other thing I had or was trying to show, which I've forgotten what I put now, was a mirror somewhere. Look at that. I don't know. I put it down somewhere anyway. I had a 7-inch mirror that I had somewhere. Oh, I'm sat on it. Oh dear, oh dear. Right, it's going to be one of them nights, I think. Anyway, it's unfortunately, it's lost some of its silvering, which if you'll see, you can see me through it. But I thought they were for optical stuff, but it's too deep for optical. But it's a very good parabola on it, but I don't think they're for optical, although I don't know. Anyway, but I just wondered if anyone knew how you would go about resilvering a mirror, because I'm sure I could use it for something. Maybe even, well, when you stick an LED in front of it, it does definitely give a nice spot from it. But yeah, they just seem stay spot strong. Oh, possibly, yeah. Yeah, I've seen lots of astronomers say about how you grind the mirrors, but none of them seem to show you how to resilver. And I suspect if I took it to one of the chrome type people to do it, would probably be not worth it. It's probably normally right. I don't know if that's actually me or not. So anyway, with that, I'll post. Yes, the reason your letters have taken slightly longer is due to COVID, lack of staff, way more parcels than we ever expected for Christmas. Letters kind of took a second place. The problem with parcels is they take up a lot more space, so you have to get rid of the parcels before you can get rid of the letters. So that's probably why your letters have taken a little bit longer than normal. But things did start to slow down. But now that we've gone back into lockdown, no doubt we'll be back up there providing everybody their essentials offline. Anyway, with that, I'll put it back round to Jim. I am going to disappear at this point as I need to make myself ready for bed, etc. So a very good night all, and no doubt we'll see you again next week, hopefully. Take care, stay safe.
Right, get poised with the mute button. Make sure I've got sound. I have, yeah. Right. Yes, I've seen those mirrors before, John. They're used in stage spotlights. Having been in entertainment for 50 odd years, I've seen loads of those, and with a mirror that looked very much like that. And they're used to produce a really tight beam spotlight. I think you'll find that's what it's for. I might be wrong, but I think that's true. And I've only had one thing go astray in the post, nothing really late. I did have a parcel delivered by Parcel Force, went to the next street, and it was some of these. And of course these had cost me a fair bit. So I'd written them off and put in a claim, and then they suddenly turned up with them. They'd realised what had happened. After I complained to them and put in a claim, they realised, oh, we don't want to pay that. So they looked into it further and found it and got it. And okay, Martin, got to be very careful if you prize these. Trying to get that exit. If you try and prize that circulator up, the PCB tracks lift so easily, and you find you've peeled off an inch of PCB track before you know what you've done, and it's very difficult to put back. So be careful doing that. Yeah, the problem for me with DVB-T is that because I provide most of the gear locally for our little group, if I wanted to go for that, I'd have to make two of everything so that somebody else could transmit and receive to me. So I'll leave that for now, I think. Yeah, and Duncan, yes, he had an amplifier from me which unfortunately took off when you put all the screws in the cover. And if you took the cover off, it worked perfectly. But he came up with a really nice solution and sorted it all out. We were scratching our heads for a little while. So there you go. Anyway, I will keep it short, and I will repeat what I said last week and wish everybody a happy and prosperous new year. And let's hope this COVID thing gets sorted out and we come off this lockdown in March, as they're suggesting, when we start getting the jabs in the arm. But we'll have to wait and see. I think we'll be having the Thursday net for quite a while now. It seems to have become traditional now, and I'm very pleased because it's a good way of passing information. So with that, I shall pass it on to Jen. Assuming he's still there, G4HIZ from G7NTG.
Thanks a lot, Jim. It's been a very interesting evening tonight, and especially with the developments and the DVB-T stuff. Look forward to doing some experiments on that one of these days. And what can I say? Valves. Don't forget that this signal is coming through a valve on board the satellite. TWT is a valve. And it's the only way that you can produce a decent amount of power output at this frequency reliably. Okay, I forgot to say Happy New Year to everybody. It seems this lockdown has sort of blurred the timetable a bit. Anyway, Happy New Year, and I hope everybody's keeping well. So, no further ado from me, and I look forward to seeing you all on the next occasion. I'm not sure who's next. I guess it is Bernie again, G4HJW. So I say good night, 73s to everybody, and I'll see you further down the log.
Yes, thank you, Jen. And it was good to actually see that over. I don't know what happened on the first one, but I just I really struggled with a couple of early signals that were on that I don't normally struggle with, but it's been okay, all of those. Right, go back to the camera. Most of what's going on at the minute is not too relevant to me, and because TV is new to me, DVB-S2 is the pinnacle for me, and it looks as though you're all planning what the next move will be. Anyway, hopefully I'll get a few months on here. The beryllium thing, Jen, I was very lucky as a teenager. I took a hacksaw to a 40x250 and I managed not to hit the beryllium in that, and I did run that. I just stuffed the I wanted it conduction cooled, which worked. I had that working in a piece of piping that was a resonator, and that worked okay. But more appalling than that was at Philips, the girls on the line, all the devices on the 25 watt devices at that time were beryllium or bipolar on beryllium, and if they had to change a transistor, they would just rip the lead from one side with the iron on it, and you just crossed your fingers and hoped that they only took the lead off the ceramic cap and that they didn't bring any beryllium dust on there. And it didn't matter how many times you said this, it was just assumed that well, I was just saying it and there was no danger. A little bit like COVID is now, with people who aren't, well, no, I'll not go there. I'll not say that. So that's that one. Noel, I saw on the various emails that are going around on all of you getting the optical working to go in parallel with the 122 gigs, that you'd blown a floodlight up. I didn't know that some of them on those ones that came from a projector, which I think the ones we're all getting are all from that stuff. I didn't know there were some that had the connections reversed on the connector. But I think I agree with John ACE that I would have checked that out first, but only because I'm lazy and lose all the information, and I would have to do that anyway. Oh, John, with that mirror, if you're using that for optical, I think for myself the idea of having a flat light heading my direction, even if you've got a mirror taking most of the light, I'm just a little bit worried about the leakage around the side, so I'm happy to have the thing pointing forward and just using a standard lens really of one sort or another. And okay on the Mini SA spectrum analyzer, Mike. I might have seen the higher frequency one, but I'm a cheapskate and I saw, well, I'll go back a step. Jenny VQH had let me have a Mini VNA that she didn't want, again the very small handheld one, because she'd upgraded, which I used for the first time today to set up the low pass filter on the 70 meg PA, and it was very useful. It was nice to be able to set something up on my normal desk rather than on the workbench and line something up there in front of a 1.5. That was very good. But anyway, I got the spectrum analyzer simply on the basis of price, and I thought under the thought of the 900 meg one under £40 just had to be worth it, and it's looking very much to be like that. So it will be worth my having bought. Oh, going back to the optical again. I'm sorry about this, but it's really the only thing I can comment on. I keep noticing, Noel, that your light box is just a frame, and I thought, well, you're going to put the other three sides on at some point. But again, on one of the emails I saw, it did look as though somebody was planning to, can't remember who, was planning to use an open frame in practice, but I think they'll struggle with that. But I know you've got the other three sides, haven't you, tucked away somewhere out of sight. So yes, you'll be putting those on later. Okay, that's it from me, I think. I wish everybody a good night and see you all next week. And I'll carry on until you all move to DVB-T, and then I'll be got a distant memory, I think. good night all, and on to you.
Right, with a bit of luck this will work. Nothing has appeared yet. Good, it's doing it. Oh, and there's a picture too. Right, okay, thank you, Bernie. Yeah, I don't think we're all going to go from DVB-T and not using DVB-S. It's just for use on the lower frequencies where multipath is the problem. So at the higher frequencies it'll be DVB-S because you can get better amplifiers and things. But it's really interesting that it works really well actually. Oops, sorry, I'm not showing my picture, am I? Let's try again. Too many buttons to press here. I think the latency last time was caused by my trying to run DATV Express at the same time as trying to run this application here. So if I try and load DATV Express now, apologies if I suddenly disappear, but that's what it was. No, okay, it's working. So let's get this camera out. To it. Sorry if this isn't working. So we got DATV Express on again. Here is the Nooker for those who haven't seen it before. And Martin, yeah, it's pretty much the same board. The only thing that's different is one of the regulators is a fixed voltage 1.2 volt regulator rather than the adjustable voltage because it's just easier to do it like that. The tuner's different, of course. It's a different tuner. But yeah, all is well. Now this big box here is my Langstone Ports Down 4 box. So it's got the Pluto built into it, but we're not using the Pluto at the moment. It's connected to the Nooker via USB, and there's a little diamond whip antenna of 0 efficiency, which is the receiver side of things. But otherwise that board's the same. I have tidied it up a bit. It was annoying me that the capacitors were not all in exactly the same orientation, so I fixed that little problem. And a few other things in the tabs on the tuner. But hopefully the PCBs that Noel has ordered will work and will arrive in fairly short order. Now I'm just going to turn on the DATV Express. And we'll see what happens. See if any smoke appears. It should be showing the same program more or less. I think I'm still getting out. At least it looks like it from here. Maybe not. And with a bit of luck and a following wind, it'll lock up to that, and it'll start displaying the signal that I'm transmitting at the moment. Then again it might not, so we'll just have to wait and see. It's locked. Yeah. No, it's unlocked, it's locked, it's unlocked. It's thinking about it. Let's give it another go. Maybe, I think I changed mode from H.264 to H.265, it might have got confused. Anyway, we'll see if it does anything there. But, you can't really see it for the reflections anyway. Got it. Yeah, there we go. So it takes a while to lock, and I'm sure that Dave's working on that and Charles is working on that, and I'm sure there are some other difficulties with the software that need to be ironed out, but I'm just absolutely astonished by the progress that they've made so far in the first few weeks. Actually, pretty much it worked straight out of the box, which was great, and yeah, it's remarkable, really, very good indeed. But it won't be replacing DVB-S. Right, so hopefully that was a full over for me this time without any messing up and missing out. So 7th to everyone, catch you next week. I think it goes around to Michael next. So HB9 DUG, I think it is, G0 Mike Juliet Whiskey.
Okay, so I hope this time I made no mistake with the different sound and the mixer of OBS. So hopefully you should have only my voice. Okay, we have been using DVB-T quite a lot in the past in the French part of Switzerland around the Geneva Lake. And I can confirm that using it in mobile was really very nice. Huh? Really very nice. With a few words we were able to even downtown to have good receptions. Huh? And also with all the mountains we have around the lake, the DVB-T is well protected against multipass. So that was also working very nicely. Okay, so I have a small gift for all of you which have joined Switzerland out of the Union. So I will show you a small video which has a lot of fun. So give me just a minute to commute, to start again my mobile phone, and that should be okay. Really sorry that is no sound. Difficult to manage the different audio mixer. Don't know why I've
There we go. Well, very nice video, Michelle. Yes, I was quite enjoying that, but it was a bit on the quiet side, I have to say. I could hear it, but very quiet. There you go. Anyway, thank you everybody for welcoming me on my first trip into the world of broadcasting to satellites. Thank you for your kind comments and everything. I too have a VNA. Mine's a bit more expensive than maybe some of them. It comes in a nice little case and everything. There you go. I haven't even got it out of the case yet, so there we go. It only came yesterday. So, but I think it was 83 or something on Amazon. But I had about £45 of vouchers, so it only cost me 40 quid really. So that's all right. I don't think I've got much else to add. Oh, just for those people who remember GB3EN, it's still going. It's not used much these days, but you know, maybe we can inject some new blood into it and get a few younger people in, like I was when I first started using EN, and now I'm not young anymore. There you go. However, I haven't retired yet. I'm still working. And working quite a lot, so I am not benefiting from retirement or lockdown either, really. I don't have any more time than I do normally, but there you go. So my my construction of items takes a little bit longer to get going. But anyhow, nice to talk to you all, nice to see you all, and I shall do it all again very soon. Happy New Year and good night, everybody. Round to, yes.
Got me yourself a new shack clock for Christmas. So that's what you can see up there. I saw one of the it was maybe one of the news reporters on BBC, or probably BBC. He had one in the background on the wall, and I thought, that's quite nice. So kind of hinted I needed a shack clock, and pointed at that one, and one arrived. So I was happy with that. It's not GPS locked, unfortunately, but we may have to do something about that. I'm sure it's not too difficult. So there we are. Right, go back to the picture I was going to mention. Any comments first? Yeah, Bernie, don't worry about the DVB-T2. DVB-S2 is here to stay on S-Hail as long as it's here, so I wouldn't worry about that. I think DVB-T, sorry, not T2, but T, is more in the experimental area for the time being anyway. So DVB-S is certainly here to stay. Valves, never touched a one. Well, I probably have, but I've not played around with them at all, so something I'm missing out on. But one day maybe, when I get some spare time, I may have a play with some. We've got a really old TV up in the attic, which is a 405 line thing, and it would be nice to resurrect it. I know that's got a load of tubes in and things, but I would imagine it's too far gone. It's certainly too far gone with woodworm to resurrect properly, but it would be interesting to go there. Unfortunately, no, I didn't make the clock. The last thing I made that's got any lights in the background is the lights up the back of here. That's got the NeoPixels in with an Arduino that illuminates that. So I had to make something to go there, so I didn't have to put a call sign up on the screen all the time. Yeah, the clock. I can't remember where the clock came from. Viking Direct, maybe. Anyway, I'm sure there's many other sellers. So anyway, the picture that's on there is what Terry G1LPS sent me today. He messaged it this afternoon, said it was on soak test. So this is the encoder and exciter for KM that he's been building up. I did the logic and the video and the audio parts. Terry's been putting actually a bit of stuff together for RF. So the right hand side there you've got the Pluto. It's got a network adapter around near the front panel, and then it goes out to a network socket on the back. There's a 5 volt DC-DC power supply there. There's an LCD on the front just for identification. Sort of, it just has some text on, I think. I haven't found out that fully yet, but it may have some more information soon. In the middle there's the IP encoder box, which has also got a network cable going out the back, or a network socket on the back panel. There's left and right analog audio input, because that's what we're using, into the back of the encoder. And then the HDMI goes out into this other box, which is a HDMI splitter to HDMI and composite out. And the reason we've done that is it gives us a composite video out to go into the original analog transmitters that are still in operation on KM, and actually the 3.4 gigs transmitter, which still uses analog composite video in. So it gives us the composite video out to still drive the other transmitters. So that's what the extra box is on the left there. And then right in the left hand corner there's a separate DC-DC isolated power supply which powers the encoder. and that seems to cure most of the low-level noise on the line input, which I was having a lot of problems with. So that's on soak test. So we're making good progress on getting KM back on the air. And the other thing I was playing around with, where's my desktop? There's the desktop. So just check the comments. That's fine. So I'm also having a look at, let's just see whether that's coming through properly. It looks like it is. Tracking a couple of satellites on S-band. I don't know how you pronounce it, but they are Proba, P-R-O-B-A, and it's ESA satellites, and they have optical sensors on them, and can give quite detailed images, as you can see there. It's quite a zoomed image, and it also gives a bit of perspective on the terrain and things. And as one of the other people on Twitter and various other places has written the decoder software to actually bring the images out of the data stream. So I'm trying to get my dish tracking quick enough on 2.2 gigs. It's 2.2375 gigs is where the satellites transmit on. And they're low Earth orbit, so they take a bit of tracking with the 3-meter dish and a couple of degrees of beam width. It's actually very difficult to track with my dish. I don't have a smaller one that tracks, so I'm trying to get it to work with the big one. So I need to do a bit more fine tuning on the controller, which is just at Arduino Nano at the moment, and some US digital encoders for the position. So it's got the precision, but it just hasn't got the adaptive control yet to adapt to the rates that the satellite changes at. It's okay on the slower speed, but on the faster speed it loses track quite a bit. But anyway, Paul, M0EYT, who's quite often on the net here, has been doing quite a lot of monitoring with it. It also, I'll put another picture up here. It also gives some lovely pictures of the sun. That's on Proba 2. I don't know, was that one today? 6th of January. Well, it was yesterday. 7th today, isn't it? Yeah. So yeah, it gives these lovely pictures of the sun that you can basically receive direct off the satellite, which is quite cool as well. So looking forward to receiving some of them. So that's another project for this week. Lots of projects basically. Got a load of things on the go as usual. So and possibly a bit of DVB-T testing in between there. So there we go. Right. 1.2 meters, probably no. There's one. I can't remember all the names on Twitter. There's quite a few guys on there. What's his name? He's the American Satcom guy. Somebody will remember who it is, but he's quite well known. He's been using a 2.4, I think. Oh no, maybe he's been using a 3 meter. But he's been doing a good job. But he had like 20, yeah, USA Satcom, quite possibly, yeah. But he has like 25 dB signal to noise, and you only need about 5, I think. So I would imagine a 1.2 that tracks nicely, you'll probably be able to do it. But it's 2.235, yeah, can't remember now. Where's my sheet of paper? 2.235 megahertz, yeah, gigahertz. Proba 2, Proba 1, yeah, there's 2 different ones. Oh, it's certainly something to waste time on. The only issue you've got with it is you need a SDR that will sample above probably 3 megasamples, I think. I've tried to use the Pluto to do it, and of course on the network it only does about 1.5, maybe 2 if you're lucky. So, yeah, Proba 2 then. AirSpy doesn't go up to 2.23 gigs unless you've got a down converter. But I do have the Lime, but unfortunately my Lime I've never ever managed to get to work on Windows with GNU Radio to do the actual demodulation of it. So I need to get my laptop set up. But yeah, a down converter on there will be fine. The Pluto on the network doesn't cut it. Pluto on USB might not cut it. I've never had much success with it wider bandwidths. It's fine on like 1.5 or half a meg, but higher up it seems to struggle. So there we go. Yeah, it could do, Mike, but I don't really fancy writing the firmware to do that. Yeah, 3 meg over the network is possible. I think the signal's 2 megahertz wide, so 2.5 mega sample's probably good, but I haven't managed to get 2 megahertz on the network to work. It stutters quite a bit, it drops quite a lot of samples, so that could be my network or my adapter or things. But anyway, I'm going to use the line with my laptop, and we should be good. So yeah, anyway, I'll maybe speak to you about that, Everest, and see, but S-band LMBs are available. Yeah, they're true, that's true. I've got a down converter, I just haven't converted it to 2.2 gigs yet. It's on 2.38 or somewhere around about there from previous mods, so there we go. Anyway, I'm waffling on here, so we shall pass it round to... Who was it round to again? I've totally forgotten again. FKK. M0DTS. Right. Yes, I like the cosine too. I have to change the colours on it a little bit. So yeah, 7.3s for this week, and let's think. I won't be on for the next few weeks because I just don't get a chance in between on these shifts at work. I just don't get a chance, or struggle to get on this evening. So I won't be on for the next few weeks, probably 3 or so, we shall see. So yeah, catch you next time, M0DTS.
Yeah, very good, Rob. Gee, 4FKK. I'll make it fairly snappy because it's, what is it, 20 to 10. But yes, all very interesting again, and I'm glad I'm not the only one with far too many projects. I haven't actually worked since March, Rob, and I've still got, my list of projects seems still to be getting longer, so you'll never finish them all. I think I can safely say that. Just going to quickly mention Duncan. I've got GB3NN working on my ports down now, but it is cheating via the stream. But there you go, it's still there. And I've got there's my studio clock, Rob. That we used to use these at Jazz FM in the northwest in Manchester, in Exchange Key. We had studios there, and I had some ridiculous program control who decided we needed to be GPS locked, not like this one which was locked to rugby, wherever rugby's gone now. 60 anyway, it still works perfectly down here, and the GPS never worked very well. I used to make him come in when the clocks went forward just to prove that they didn't work properly. Anyway, that was a very long time ago. What was the other? Michelle, yeah, I like your Eunium video, very exciting, and it cheered me up a bit, although generally speaking I'm taking a dim view of the whole thing. And talking of sputtering mirrors, when I was a very long time ago, I did an apprenticeship at Marconi's, and we had a gold sputtering machine there, and it was the apprentices' jobs to mount the crystals that were about to be sputtered for their electrodes, and we would also add various other little trinkets to be gold plated for our girlfriends. It was also her job to clean the machine once a month, and you'd end up literally with a bag, huge bag full of pure gold. This is pure gold, none of your 22 carat rubbish. And used to take it to the storeman. And after I'd left Marconi, I heard the storeman had left and bought his own pub. And the management were quite sweet. I wonder how he managed to afford that. There we go. good times. Right, thank you very much. Happy New Year to everybody, and thanks for letting me in late, Dave. I will try and get dinner organised earlier next week. So back round to you, Noel. G8GTZ, G4FKK. Cheerio.
Right. Okay. Good. I was very fortunate to come across that at the scrap merchants where where GB3 is housed. That's a genuine BBC one. You still quite regularly see them. It keeps appalling time though, because you either lock it to the mains or to a separate sync source, which the BBC is piped around, and it loses time. I had to. It was embarrassing. I had to adjust it whilst during the last overs, because it was actually an hour and a quarter late because I'd never moved it after the clocks went forward in autumn, and it had lost a quarter of an hour by itself. So yes, it looks very, very nice, but it's never quite on time. So yeah, good. And okay, on everybody else, not much else other than I've just dived into the drawer, and there's a 2.1 to 2.5 wooden Douglas down converter. So I think that, or alternatively, there's an S-band LMB, and I'm sure I've got some more down converters. But I've also got an RF hams mesh dish sitting in the garden doing nothing, along with a Yaesu XY rotator, which came from a certain project that happened 5 years ago, believe it or not. It's 5 years ago, probably this week, that we did the first Tim Peake contact at St Albans. So yeah, I'll have a poke around, see if it's doable on a 1.2 meg mesh, and if it is, I might have a look. Be interesting. Right, I'll say 73s to one and all, and hopefully see you all again next week. And thanks for the interesting evening, and back round to Dave, I guess.
Yeah, plenty of background noise I noticed on my audio. That's the fan cooling my Jetson. Clocks, I've got one in the corner of my computer screen, and that's the only one I've got. But no, lots of interesting stuff there. While it was going on, I've been doing some testing on the knuckle tuner. Locks at 51.5 megs, and the highest frequency I can get it to work at is 1020. So we're going to need converters for 29 megs and probably a preamp for 51, I'm not sure, or at least some filtering. For burning, no, the intention is only to use them for mobile work or the lower bands. Well, it's been a really interesting net tonight. Thanks very much all for coming on, and see you all next week. Don't forget to get those contest entries in. Be good to have a few more on the list there. Good night all. G8GKQ closing the BATC net and leaving it as a free-for-all. Good night.